Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Joseph Luciano interview. Now, today's guest is the #1 Australian welterweight in the country, and he's taking on Jono Micallef November 18th, Hex Fight Series 28. And it's an interesting matchup. We talk a little bit about it, but we would be just horrendous at what we do if we didn't address what happened early September in Sydney. There was supposed to be a matchup for the Australian MMA welterweight championship. Joey Luciano taking on Matt Vaile, and everyone wanted to know what happened, why it didn't happen, what exactly went down. And in the first ever time speaking to the media since, we have Joseph Luciano here to explain it all. Now, I mean, have your own opinions, but there's been a lot of stuff circulating online, and that's why I thought it was very important to have Luciano on to explain his side. And anyone who's ever involved in that side or whatnot and wants to give their 2 cents, they are more than welcome. Believe it or not, I do want to get it out of the way, but it needs to be addressed, and we do it. We do that right now, and then we move on to, you know, the man behind what happened, because even we look at it as if it's, you know, almost like it's fantasy MMA, like we're in the in our armchairs going, why didn't he fight, or what happened there, or I would have done this. So I reckon it's this guy's fault. But in the interview, we get to find out a little bit more about the guy and how basically just not fighting for whatever reason, and whoever's fault it is, I don't care. It was a guy that missed out on an opportunity, and you might say it's his fault, but please do listen to the interview and have your own thoughts made up after this interview. But Joey gives his reasoning for what happened, and look, at the end of the day, it's a guy that missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime, and I ask him if he regrets it or if he ever will regret it. We also talk about his obviously his love for his team, Absolute MMA, his UFC teammate Jack Jenkins, who had a freak injury and obviously is out for a little while. We talk about life outside of MMA. We talk about Matt Vaile and his fans, and the fight that never was and the fight that could be. We also talk about his new opponent, Jono Micallef, and the guy, he is kind of getting forgotten in all of this. I'm probably not helping. But look, we chat about it. We finally try and get the Sydney fight out of the way, but you know, it needs to be addressed, and maybe you disagree with me and you say it doesn't, and let sleeping dogs lie, or whatever they say. But I feel that each party, for the people that do care, I think they're invested and they want to know, and you might disagree with me, and that's okay. Then don't listen. But we cover the topic, and hopefully you at least understand Luciano's side, whether you agree with it or not. But we do address it, and then we move on. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Luciano. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Joseph Luciano. Mate, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good. Why are you afraid of Matt Vaile? Look, we got to start there, mate. September 8th in Sydney, you were supposed to take on the one and only, the Viper, Matt Vaile, for the Eternal MMA Welterweight Championship. Can you give us a rundown or just your version on why that did not happen?
I think what a lot of people are kind of glossing over is that was also the biggest opportunity in my career too, up until that point. So I think it's a little naive to think Joseph Luciano went running scared. And if you think that, you are a half-wit. So I suppose you want to get down to the nitty-gritty of why that bout did not take place.
Yeah. I mean, people are wondering, because obviously you're the best in Australia at welterweight. You would not be quote unquote scared, which you've been called by many New Zealanders. But
You should see
why?
my DMs, dude. It's hilarious. I've got like these guys yelling shit at me. I don't even know what they're saying, but yeah, fucking hell.
What happened?
So, for the record, I did not pull out of that fight and had full intention to fight Vaile on the weekend of the UFC in town, and obviously all the bigwigs around, and eyes on us as the main event. The fight was pulled on me the Wednesday before fight week, quite early in the morning. So that's what I can say. Yeah, I didn't pull out.
Why would it be pulled?
I think that's a question for a certain company. That is not Joseph Luciano. All I can do is, book a date and prepare myself to be ready for that.
Now, because I don't want to spend too much time on it, because I do want to move forward, because we have...
there's fucking, the world moves on and shit like that, even if certain people don't. But yeah.
But the fact of the matter is...
I think it's important to get this out in the open and, have the facts out there, because there's a lot of people guessing and assuming things that are pretty unwarranted, in my opinion.
Well, I assume you've talked to people that are in charge and have given you advice on what you can and can't say. But to protect your character in somewhat, what can you tell us about the situation, though?
Yeah, I can tell you a contract was never signed for that fight. I can also tell you that there was back and forth on that until the fight was cancelled on me from a change, without being able to say too much. And the other sticky point on that was a extension of another part of the contract, which was not agreed upon. And then I was being asked to sign something that had not been agreed upon, and then was told if I don't sign in, I got a message sort of late on, I think, the Tuesday night, if, you need to sign this now. And I said, okay, but what about this? That's completely changed from our previous dealings. And 6:30 in the morning, I got a message, if you don't sign this now, we're going to pull the fight. And then, I just, who can I consult at 6:30 in the morning? I don't know any, people that are, any decent people that are up at that time. So by 8:30 or around that time, the fight had been pulled on me. I had full intention and was fully prepared to rock up to what could potentially be, the biggest to the biggest organization in the world, which is what we're all doing this for, I suppose, right? Like, everyone's trying to get to that big show and make the money and do everything they can and become a star and fight at the highest level and achieve success. So, yeah, but just have it what we agreed upon in the contract, and it's good to be signed. And then there was some changes to the contract. What I will say is I obviously captured the title 6 months ago previously. If that same contract that I originally signed to fight Caleb Rideout was the same with a slight bump up in pay as agreed, I would have fought Matt Vaile. But the contract was different, and I had not signed it, and then they had pulled the fight from me.
What was changed?
I don't know if I can, a matching clause.
Okay.
I think for anyone that has seen my career as of late has noticed that I have been extremely active and fighting very often. And then it came to a point where I was not.
So why? I mean, it's the biggest weekend of your career.
Correct.
I believe, I mean, I could be wrong without diving into contract details. I do believe Eternal always lets you out if the UFC signs you. I don't know. I don't think they would ever stop anyone from doing that ever. Why not just fight?
So what happens if you go into a business arrangement and you lowball yourself constantly and, okay, say, cool, everything goes ahead. I beat Vaile, which, cool. Then I potentially don't get signed. Then what, I've got to sit on the shelf for what I've been doing for the last 6 months. I'm not keen with that. The inactivity of late for my career, I'm 31. I don't want to fuck around and wait and keep waiting. Yeah.
Could you have not told them earlier that you were going to fight regardless of the contract?
For sure. Oh, yeah.
So let's say they don't pull the fight. You get to the fight. You end up fighting. You don't get paid.
Yeah, I won't. I would have fought without a contract any day of the week. That's perfect. If anyone can read between the lines of that. Might take a few brain cells, might not. But yeah.
Now, who do you put the blame on? Is it management? Is it you? Is it the promotion? Like, where does the blame fall?
I think that's glaringly obvious. There had been a severe breakdown in communication. Could have gotten solved with a phone call to my coach, me. And the first point of contact had been, the fight will be pulled from you. So, yeah.
Are you still with your management?
I'm no longer with my management.
Okay. Now, if there was one thing, and I really do want to move on from this, because despite what many people may think, I actually don't like spending too much time on this area, but it is necessary.
It sounds like you just want to, absolutely roast everyone and be a piece of shit, Mitchell. But, that's cool. No, I'm shit stirring.
No. A little bit. No, I don't. I honestly don't. And obviously, like, no one wins out of that situation. I can see it on both sides as to why people have their interests that they have to protect. It makes sense. But in the terms of the losers, of course, is everyone. If there was one thing, because there is a lot being said, of course, you didn't come out and say anything, rightfully so. The promotion didn't. The management didn't. I wish someone did. I did. But like, what did you want everyone to know? Like that. So the fight gets pulled. What did you want every single person to know in that moment?
Wow. Obviously my emotions were extremely high. So, I could probably say a few things about that. But I think people need to realize that this is our lives, careers all rolled into one. Just ask yourself the question, why would the number one fighter in Oceania, thank you, JJ, apart from JJ, not want to take that opportunity? I think that's what I didn't want people to know anything. I just wanted them to ask themselves the question.
Then why was that the hill to die on?
What do you mean?
Like, why that moment? Like, have you had situations with other promotions, other management, other fights in the past where you've sort of just gone into it willy-nilly and not put such an importance on it, and it's like gotten you in the past? Or why
100%,
now?
Yeah, 100% it has. Again, you can look back at my career and see vast periods of enforced inactivity. As an amateur, I had fucking shitload of fights, and then I went pro, and all of that dried up, not because of my willingness to compete when I've been able to. I've competed as much as, anyone does, or more than a lot of people do. So the forced inactivity, and I'm sure Matt Vaile can appreciate that as well, because he's pretty dirty about stuff happening to him in the past. And I'm sure, all the other welterweights in the country and everyone else that has been sort of put on the fence before with their career or shelved has felt the same way. So, I would not let that happen to me again. Definitely.
And the final question on this topic, is there ill will to your previous promotion?
I am very frustrated, annoyed, disappointed that I did not get to fight on the UFC Sydney. Having that pulled from me was probably up there as one of the most disappointing things that's gone on in this sport for me on a personal level. That's not how I saw it going down at all. So, yeah.
If you don't get signed, will you look back on that moment in regret and think maybe I should have just taken it?
If you live like that, I think that's one way to cripple yourself with would have, if, could. The decision was not made. I didn't make the decision. It was made for me. So that's a little bit out of my hands. And I cannot go through life going, oh, someone took something from me and I'm going to suck up about it. I have done the very thing that I need to do next, which is get a fight and, keep the ball rolling.
Now we move on to the fight you got. The Matt Vaile army has not stopped, and I believe, for valid reason, why is this fight not you versus Matt Vaile for the Hex welterweight title?
That is, again, I do not own Hex, and that is not, I am fighting the guy that is put in front of me, as everyone has to do, and he is a local guy who's on a hell of a win streak and is a spectacular young up-and-comer with a lot of raps on him. So I can see why Hex would want him to defend or go for the belt, I should say. I think the question might be, why would Matt Vaile, I think he was the Hex champ, right?
Yeah.
At one point, but he's no longer. So, yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. I honestly don't know. That's obviously between Matt and Hex. I'm not too sure what went on there, but all I know is I have Jono Micallef and I'm fighting him on the 18th.
Before I move on to Jono, would you have preferred the Matt Vaile fight?
Of course. I shouldn't really say that. That's a little disrespectful to Jono. Matt's got a better record. He's got a lot more fights. He's got some raps on him for sure. So he's been in the scene for a long time, but I think it's probably a little bit of a riskier fight taking Jono, to be honest.
I think it is too. And I think, if anything, you deserve props. I mean, I know for a fact Matt Vaile wasn't offered the fight, the reason why. And I'll clear it up right now. He wasn't offered the fight.
I wasn't trying to, talk shit there.
No, I know. He wasn't offered the fight. I believe it's something along the lines of Micallef was offered the fight, and if he won the last fight, he would be in the welterweight title picture. You were still scheduled to fight Matt Vaile on another promotion, which you can see why they then don't want to backtrack, give you the shot. I mean, could you argue that they should have given Vaile the fight against Micallef? That's for other people to argue. But at the end of the day, two Melbourne guys fighting for the Hex welterweight strap in the biggest venue they've got in Melbourne. It makes sense. It's a big step up for Micallef, but like you said, he's an absolute stud. Is it risky taking on? Because, I mean, he is an up-and-comer, but we kind of feel like you have everything to lose right now.
Of course. I've got the record, got the raps on me, the ranking, all of that. Having a target on my back, being in that position. So, he's got everything to gain, of course.
What is it about Micallef that you think is very concerning heading into your fight?
from a skills standpoint, you know, he's a southpaw. He's a dangerous striker. Moves very well. He's got ticker. I think we saw that in the Jack James fight. Who has a very good welterweight himself, and Jono did the job on that. So yeah, there's plenty of. From what I've heard, his grappling's a little underrated. Hasn't had to show it as much. So, you know, in this day and age, everyone's very well rounded, and if you get to the top of that heap, you know, there's a bit of an X factor there with him for sure.
Are you as motivated for it as you were the Vaile fight?
That's so funny when I hear people say that, motivation. I don't need to get motivated to punch another dude in the face. Like it's the fucking best shit ever. I get paid for it. The thing is, the motivation to fight Jono, I don't need motivation to fight anyone. So that's kind of irrelevant for sure.
The game plan going in, I mean, are you expecting a war, or are you expecting a peak performance of Joey Luciano?
Always a war. That's for fucking idiots, man. Peak performance of Luciano always is what I'm after. You know, that whole, you know, I'm not one of those just bleed UFC guys, punch me in the head and I'll punch you back. I'm a little smarter than that. And I like to play to my strengths for sure.
With the career, like you said, you're 31. Obviously, we all know you're right up there. You know how close you are to the next level. It could be one. It could be 2 fights. It could be 10, the way this is working. Do you feel like you're running out of time to get to the next level?
No, I don't. You know, the beautiful thing about enjoying this so much is my development has been so good. You know, I'm 30 and I'm still learning new shit every day in the gym. So, running out of time and athletic ability, no. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm running out of time at all.
Financially, you sacrificing other areas of life?
Of course, mate. You know, I think anyone that does this at the highest level and gives their, you know, body and heart and soul to it, sacrifices on the financial level. Like, you know, I used to be a plumber and a sparky dual trade, and you can make pretty good money doing that and driving a nice, you know, paid for work car around and, you know, doing cashies on the side and living life and being happy. But happiness is inconsequential to what I feel waking up and walking down to the gym. Like, I haven't even got a fucking car, dude, but I'm happy. And, you know, I'm making enough to get by and all of that, but I'm not rolling around in my new Ford Raptor, that's for sure.
Now, you're a married man. Is there pressure on that end? Do you feel that you're not, and this is a very it's a very out there question, and feel free to tell me to shut up, but like, do you feel like you're not able to give your partner the life that you want to be able to give financially yet?
Fortunately, she's a woman of very little means apart from spending quality time together. So, you know, I haven't got some like bimbo chick that's like, hey, I want fucking lip fillers and a new Prada bag. I think that'd be pretty hectic if she was like that. But, you know, she's happy. Like, she trains herself and she's competed and all of that stuff. So she gets it. And yeah, you know, between the two of us, we've got a Suzuki Swift that we get around in, and like, I'm still stoked with the life I live, and I think she is, because we're both enjoying it. Maybe, you know, if I was richer and still me, she might be happier. I don't know. I don't think she's a big gold digger. If she is, she's with the wrong dude anyway.
Mate, I wanted to ask you about your boy Jack Jenkins in the UFC. Obviously, a bit of a freak injury. You're close knit with him. Obviously, you go through the preparation into those fights. You see it, and like that, you don't know what is next for his career in terms of an injury. Like, what does it do for you to see your teammate get hurt like that?
Seeing someone put in so much effort and, you know, bleeding with them on the mat and sweating and all of that sort of shit, seeing that not being taken away from him, but, you know, his moment eclipsed by an injury, it's fucking tragic, mate. Like, that hurts your soul a little bit. in that moment for sure. And then, from a broader perspective, any of us could do an ACL in a session at any time, like an ACL, or I've had guys step back and they've popped their Achilles, and that's a fucking horrible injury. And like, this shit is so volatile, and it is so, it can just change like the wind. So I think that just makes you appreciate it more. But yeah, it sucks seeing your mate injured for sure.
Is there any, and I've asked a few guys this, because obviously there's a few teams with guys at high level, and some of them are making 50 grand in the UFC, and some of them are still making sort of 2 grand, 3 grand on the regional scene. Is there any bit of like jealousy in terms of like, you get to work with Jack every day, you kind of came up with him as well. If anything, I believe you may have even started before him, and to see kind of him doing really well, and obviously paying all the bills, driving the nice car, and you're still kind of in the trenches a little bit. Is there
That's
any bit of...
funny, man. I have never even thought of that until you just said it. And I think Jack's driving a shitbox still himself, unless he's bought a new car recently. So I don't know. I think because this shit is so horrific that we do, and it sucks so much that we've all had to grind and struggle. It's like if one guy gets ahead and makes it, we're like, yeah, fuck, you lucky cunt. Like, that's awesome, dude. Like, enjoy it, because we're still all on the grind. So it's a sense of relief seeing your mate get ahead, as opposed to being like, oh, well, there's 10 of us that are all fucking pieces of shit. At least one of us is killing it now, Because like, out of all the guys I train with, I think a few of them, their car headlights are all out because they can't afford to put new fucking globes in them. And, we all suck. Like, we're degenerates and no one's making any money, but it's fucking awesome. But yeah, I don't think that tall poppy or crabs in a bucket thing is really existent for us, to be honest. Yeah, but Jack's like a humble guy. For me, I'd be walking around with Gucci suits and shit like that and rubbing it in people's faces. And, you want to wear my silk cravat, you can wear it for the weekend, but I want it back dry cleaned. Yeah, fuck, that's an interesting thing, man. I never really thought of that. Yeah.
We talk about you not, living the high life. However, you are doing the hobbies of someone living the high life. Have you got into golf recently?
Yeah, dude. I'm the first person on either side of my family to ever play golf, dude. So this is a big, big step for the Luciano family. We've got a golfer, and I am fucking shit house. So that's made me enjoy it even more. Yeah, I'm a golf guy now.
Is it interesting learning a new skill that you suck at? Because the last couple of years has probably just been you polishing a lot of your martial arts skills, where golf, I'm going to assume, like everyone, sucks when they start.
Yeah, it's horrendous. Yeah, it's good sucking at something because, as you said, doing jits, wrestling, striking, it's like you're just fine-tuning your already existent skills, whereas this, yeah, it's exciting and it's funny. Most people would think, you get a hobby and you want to do it away from all the guys you punch each other in the head and yell at each other every day, but we're hiding from our wives playing golf now. So maybe it's like a thing we can do once the body's worn out a bit and we can get on the golf train and still run away from home.
Do you guys ever, I mean, you're a close-knit team. Does it ever get really heated in the training room?
It gets way more heated at golf, bro. Like, I nearly wrapped a 9-iron around Sarmad's head the other day because he got a putt. So, look, in the training room, not at all. I did a bit of a dick move to one of the boys the other day, and he told me to, are we doing that now? And then we both started laughing at each other. So, like, I've had someone with a really big head in our team headbutt me and cut me. And I looked at him and I went, you fucking wanker. And then we started laughing. Like, No, there's no one's coming out with malice to fucking injure someone. We're going hard, and if you get dropped, you get dropped. It's not a nasty thing, man. But yeah, there's no heated shit like that going on. That's for the students, us fighters. But Simo gets pretty heated. You don't want to get on the wrong side of him. I've actually accidentally elbowed him and sliced him up. I'd say it was his fault. He said it's mine, and he chased me around the cage, and I ran out the gym with tears in my eyes. So
Really?
yeah, dude, fucking oath. So
When was this?
about a week ago. No, it wasn't. It wasn't really, but we've got a great environment down there, and yeah, egos. You've got to have an ego to do this, and you've got to think you're the man. But I think we've got a good handle on that at the gym with that getting out of control for sure. I haven't seen it.
Before I let you go, we'll ask you this one last question. To get that shit dilemma happening, and whoever's fault it was, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the biggest moment.
It kind of does matter, but yeah.
No, it does, but it's over. Like it's done. You get to move forward to a degree.
Yeah.
Would you have handled any of it differently to now, or are you happy with where you're at now?
I'm not happy with where I'm at, and I'll never be happy where I'm at, no matter what that is in life. Would have I handled it differently? No, not at all. That was completely not a fault of mine that a fight was pulled from my feet on the biggest, potentially the biggest stage that I could perform on a local level. So yeah, I'm a little dirty about that, man. I'm a little salty for sure. And it's all very well and good saying, oh, that's in the past. And it is, and there's no point dwelling on it, but spoiled milk still is spoiled milk at the end of the day.
So November 19th, after the night of November 18th, welterweight title fight against Jono Micallef, let's say you walk out holding the belt, does it then not matter, or you reckon it's going to stick with you forever?
Fuck. I don't like to be wronged. And I am a man from a culture where there's a term for, where you're wronged and you hold on to that for a very long time and it becomes a blood feud, which is called a vendetta. This isn't that serious, but it's fucking annoying, right? It's annoying, dude. It's fucking annoying. But onwards and upwards, there's going to be plenty of shit in life that fucking doesn't do right by you. It's what you do after that is important, I believe.
And over or under 20 comments and messages after this is posted from New Zealanders?
I reckon 20 Kiwis posting Viper emojis going, Luciano's a bitch, and probably messaging me saying, you dropped the scucks, bro. If someone could, I think that's nuts. So yeah, fuck, he's got some great fans that really care about him, I suppose. None of my mates comment on anything or engage at all. So maybe they know I'm a bitch and they don't want to hang out with me. I think that might be the case.
Jeez. All right, mate. Well, I appreciate the time. I know it was a weird topic and a weird issue to dive into.
It was a weird chat for sure.
It was. And I know I probably didn't make the situation any better at the time.
So will you be having Eternal on? You've had Vaile on, you've had me on. Obviously, Vaile was pretty out of the loop and felt pretty hard done by. His interview was good. He was respectful and seems like a decent sort of dude. You've had me on, obviously a bitch who's scared of snakes and vipers. Are you having Eternal on?
I have asked them, and the open invitation is there on anyone that is with Eternal. You can come on, and I've said it before and I will say it again. You can and a lot of people don't know this behind the scenes. You can have the edit. You can tell me what, like, oh, we're posting this, or I'm cutting that out. I'm cutting that out. Like, you can have it. I would love to have them on. I understand why they wouldn't. Like, at the end of the day, I'm in my mum's basement doing this. Like, I'm not a real. It's actually their spare room, but I'm not there. Like, I'm not Channel 7. I'm not Channel 9. You have no reason to speak to me. I can see how they would think I am at times stirring shit up with this.
Okay. Because, you know, this was like a fucking month ago and you're still going on about it and you're still dragging it up.
You know, so you didn't mention it.
Well, it didn't need to be said. It was glaringly obvious what had happened for anyone that.
But it's not.
It is, man. If you've been in the fight game or you've done business, it's pretty clear what had happened, right?
To you, yeah. And to the 30 hardcore people that know the scene, yeah. There's a lot of people that love the scene that don't know, they do not know what is going on.
That's fair. They don't,
And those are the guys that are going to get you paid more, because Eternal can't pay you more money. Hex can't pay you more money.
They're the guys that are commenting Viper emojis on my posts.
Yes, and it's important for those people to know. And
it is.
And then they get more money, and then they can pay you more money, and then you can get 2 Suzuki Swifts.
Fantastic. Well, we might get the RE4, which is the fancy version.
I don't even know what that is. All right, legend. Thank you so much. I will chat to you another time.
Appreciate it, mate.
Peace.